Hey there, so welcome to Masterclass number 7 with Kristabyte. Krista is a relatively new streamer. She's only been streaming consistently for about 3.5 months now, but is already averaging 85 viewers, which is incredible. And even more impressive is that she's doing this inside of Fortnite, which we know is a very competitive game to get into. So if you're a new streamer, maybe doing it a few months, and aren't really too sure how to grow, maybe struggling to get engagement or grow that community, this video is going to have a lot of really great information for you to take away and act upon. Two apologies in advance. Firstly, for this recording right now, I wasn't very well this week, so my voice sounds a little bit nasally. But second, we did do the recording last week, so I don't sound bad in the actual masterclass itself. However, my file did corrupt, so the visual quality doesn't look the best, which I do apologize for. However, Krista's looks great, sounds great, and that's really the important thing at the end of the day. So make sure if you do want to connect with Krista, send her a message, fire her a DM. She's super happy to get in touch with anyone and share knowledge wherever she can. And she also mentioned that for any female streamers out there who are looking to connect and maybe find other female streamers to play with, then she said make sure to reach out to her for that too. Enjoy the masterclass and see you in the next episode.
You were killing it on that Fortnite stream before. You had like
Oh my
102
god.
viewers, I think, when I was watching.
It said I peaked at like 114. I don't look at it. So like I only know after the fact, and I looked at it, I was like, "Holy crap." Like, and I tell chat, I'm like, "I don't want to know how many people are there. Don't tell me."
Mm.
So most people know not to say anything. So once in a while it's like, "Oh my god, you have like 70 people." And I'm like, "Oh wow, that's cool."
Yeah. Yeah, were you doing like a big event or anything like that? Were you doing anything differently? I saw you had the outfit on.
Oh yeah, because I added something called the torture wheel. So I do like challenge wheels a lot. But I got this idea from one of my streamer friends who does this. He adds a torture wheel for donations. So every time he hits like a $10 threshold for a donation, he has this torture wheel and he has all these things on it. So I did that, and one of the wheel spins was wear my llama costume. So I had to put that on for the rest of the stream. So that's why I was wearing that. Yesterday, or actually Tuesday, I had to draw a mustache on my face. So I had a mustache on for the
What's
entire
the
stream.
worst thing on the torture wheel that you could possibly get?
Honestly, I had to do one today. It was I had to switch my hands when I was playing. So I had to move with my right hand, and because I'm a keyboard and mouse player, so I had to move with my right hand, and my left hand I had to use my mouse.
Mhm.
Rather opposite, switch that. So I was using the mouse with my left hand, the keyboard with my right hand, and I was worse than the bot. It was
Dif
so annoying. It's worse than me playing with a controller. Like, and that's on there too.
difficult to play intense FPS games when you're, like, playing back to front. Very difficult.
Yeah, I was shooting the ground. I wasn't even trying to shoot anything, and I'm like, I couldn't slide because my keybind for, like, sliding is on my mouse. So, because if you use it with your left hand, it's I can't click
Yeah,
it.
it's on the other
Um,
side.
I was a bot. It was great. We ended up coming in, I think, 4th or something like that. I was like, "I'm just better off dead. Just keep me dead."
Yeah, because I was watching and I think you'd won, like I think you said the lowest place you'd come in the games you'd played that day was, like, 4th, and, like, you'd won, like,
Yeah,
most
I
of
don't know,
your
we won every game this morning. I don't know what happened.
and you say you're not good at
We normally
Fortnite
never
either,
win.
so you were doing something right.
My team carried me, you know?
Hard carry. Alright, well, I mean,
Exactly.
that's a good introduction, but it would be really good if you wanted to kind of give a bit more of a breakdown of about yourself, who you are, how long you've been streaming for, just kind of give maybe an overview, an introduction to yourself.
Yeah, sure. Well, I go by Kristabyte. I'm a Fortnite streamer. I'm also the CEO and co-founder to Rights to Unmute, which is a 501(c)(3) charity that actively combats racism, misogyny, bigotry, and harassment in online gaming spaces. We do that through social advocacy, co-ed tournaments, and data-driven candor is what we call it. We are not afraid to shy away from the hard conversations and call things as they are. And that's pretty much who I am in my personality. I stream early mornings, Eastern time zone, so early for me. Stream from like 5 a.m. to about 10 a.m. And then I work a full time job and all the rest of it. So that's essentially who I am. We don't take ourselves seriously. The motto of our stream is embrace your weird and, encourage people to be themselves.
And how did you get into streaming? Because 'Cause you've not been doing it that long, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've had affiliate for 2 years, but I never did anything with it. Like, I had friends who helped me get to affiliate. They're like, "Okay, we'll troll your streams for, the few hours that you have to do it." So I got affiliate 2 years ago. Um, and then after that, I just stopped. I was like, this isn't for me." I got busy with, like, work and life, and we were focusing on our nonprofit. And, it wasn't until we got to doing an event with Rights to Unmute that I was like, "I wanna stream." Like, I wanna have more of an impact on a personal level, than doing like, this is great. I love everything that we do, but people don't know me. So I wanted it to be like a way to introduce who I am to the duo of my partner and myself.
And what was it then that what was the event in particular that made you want to get back into streaming then? Was it a stream-based event, or was it that you just thought, "Oh, how do we do an event for the nonprofit?" And you thought maybe we could try streaming?
Yeah, well, it was DreamHack Dallas. So it was a big convention, big gaming convention. We were invited there as one of the nonprofits to participate. We had a booth and we had everything, and we had our streamer friends, and I'm friends with many, many streamers. I have friends all over the place, not only because I work in the industry, but I've just been in it for everything that I do. And everybody around me was just like laughing, having fun. They're like networking. And I'm like, you know what? Like, everybody kept asking me, "Do you stream? Like, do you ever stream?" I'm like, no. They're like, "Why?" And I said, "I don't know. Like, I don't really have the time." And those always excuses. Like, I don't know. No, who would really watch me? Like, I'm just the chick from New York that curses on occasion. Like, there's not a lot to me. And they're like, "No, you should totally do it." And I'm like, eh. So, after having that weekend, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should. Like, the nonprofit is all about being loud and representing the people that maybe aren't afraid to speak up. And I have a loud mouth. I'll talk about anything. Um, you know, so I said, why not, build a personal brand, have fun with it. Not to mention, like, I work in the industry, I work in influencer marketing. I understand the ability to generate revenue not only for yourself, but for things that you care about and get involved in causes that you care about. There's a lot of opportunity if you get the eyeballs from the right people.
Yeah, that was one thing I was gonna mention because I didn't mention it at the beginning, but you are also working in influencer marketing, right? So you have a lot of insight into that market already. The influencers that you
Mhm.
are mostly working with, are they inside of streaming or are they other areas of it or areas of content creation?
It's both. My favorite ones to work with are streamers. I just feel like streaming is such a untapped market, if you know what I mean, but not in a market way like, oh, we could, manipulate people, but more like there's such authenticity in streaming. You can't really get any more authentic than watching a streamer. And I feel that communities are so much more connected there. So anybody can pay an influencer to put a social media post up. But, like, you can't really get that personal connection you get with an influencer on a TikTok as you could watching them live stream for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's completely different, right? And I think it's hard to fake a 3-hour live stream as opposed to faking a 30-second clip that's heavily edited. Very, very.
Exactly.
So, what is the story behind your name? Is there a story behind your name in particular, or did you just think it sounded cool?
Not really. There's no fun story behind it. I was working in New York City as a tech reporter, basically. I was for, like, the very small media outlet that was just breaking into online media. So this is back in, like, what, 2016 or something like that. This is a long time ago. And we were using our own platform to speak basically what TikTok is now, but for, that many years ago. And, they had me talking about new upcoming things in tech and interviewing people in New York City and, like, doing all these things. Even though I was a web developer, why they chose me to do it, they're like, "You know about tech, you could talk to a camera," and I was like, Okay, sure." So we did that, and I was like, "I need a name for my show, what am I gonna call it?" So we called my show Gigabyte because it just made sense, and then I was looking at my gamer tag, and I was like, I would love to come up with, like, a community that we can have, women gamers and all the rest of that kinda come together because it's such a stigma that girls shouldn't game and all the rest of it. So she was like, my producer, I was talking to her, I was like, "What should I name myself?" She goes, "Why don't you just name yourself like Kristabyte?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I like that." Because my username before that was Kiwi Martini. I was like, I don't think an adult should be naming themselves after, like, an alcoholic beverage. It, like, may give the wrong impression. I just want, like, a standard, pretty
Yeah.
basic. username, and she's like, "Why don't you just name it that?" And I was like, "That's a really good idea." So I ended up just going with that. So not a really crazy story. Just didn't want to be referred to as an alcoholic beverage.
And it does have a story though, and it's interesting that you like have owned a lot of time inside it side of tech, and then you were doing web development, which I didn't know either. And then you kind of always stayed within that
Hmm.
area. So I guess it makes a lot of sense. And Byte has a lot of techie connotations to it. So I think it's pretty perfect for streaming for sure. And what was it that made you want to get
Hmm.
into Fortnite? Because when we spoke in the past, you said you're not someone who would consider yourself actually that good at Fortnite.
Yeah, I'm terrible at Fortnite. I just do it because I could dress up as a banana. Like, I could be a banana, I could be a piece of corn. Like, it's a game that literally should not take itself seriously as it does, you know? Much like the world takes itself too seriously, like, you have to have fun. But honestly, I played League before. So, League to Fortnite or not, they're very, very different games, but I feel like I could have more fun and be authentic to myself and what I'm trying to promote by being a banana, by being a silly thing in game. I can laugh at myself. I'm not going to take it seriously because I'm not a hardcore gamer for Fortnite. Um, and that's really what I'm trying to push. You shouldn't have to be a hardcore sweat that doesn't leave their house in order to be successful or in order to, impact anybody. Um, but yeah, so I liked Fortnite. I played it once. I was like, "Oh, this is okay." I thought I was gonna hate it, and I liked it. And I was like, "Okay, I could get behind this." So whatever, just have fun, do silly things, make yourself laugh. And I can't do that with League. League is not a fun game to watch or play, or it's so strategy based. I would make myself fall asleep if I was trying to explain what my thought process was in playing League of Legends.
Mm.
People that make it fun, I give them so much credit. I don't know how they do it. I give
And
them all the credit in the world.
and did you start when you hit affiliate? Were you streaming League back then? Is that what you started with?
Yep, I was streaming League just with my friends. We would do Fortnite Fridays, is what we did. So we switch it up on Friday. We'd play Fortnite with a group of girls from Unmute, and I played League mostly. And I would get nobody. I had it segmented, so like I would talk about you know gaming news and stuff like that in the beginning part of my segment. Then I would go into gaming, and then everybody would just stop watching. I was like, nobody likes League streams. Also, I'm not great at the game. I'm okay, you know, but it's just not a fun unless you know what's going on. League isn't a great game to watch.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot harder of a game to pick up as a casual, like to sit down and watch. Whereas Fortnite has a lot of similarities to, just battle royales. So it is a lot easier. Most people can understand the concept. Obviously, you've got no build now in Fortnite 2, which is even more kind of has a lot more crossover between, your PUBGs or your Call of Duties or your Apex Legends, whatever.
Hmm.
And are you mostly playing no build?
Yep. I can't play builds to save my life. Don't ask me to do it. I don't even have the keybind set.
I remember when Fortnite first came out, and it was when they didn't have no build, and I just could not get it. I'd come over from PUBG, and I'm getting so frustrated with it not even being a shooting game anymore, but like who could just build the biggest castle in the shortest amount of time. And I think I maybe played like 10
Yep.
games on Fortnite and never played it again.
Hmm. Yep. I believe it. I can't play Minecraft and a shooter game at the same time. My brain doesn't work like that. And plus, the people who play builds, I feel like have no aim or accuracy whatsoever. So if I end up getting into a build game by accident, number one, I'll never build anything. I could build a single wall. I have one hotkey set. It's a wall. And then I just end up winning or coming in the top 10 or 5 because they just don't know how to aim. And I'm here for
Mm,
that. Keep that up.
yeah. So with Fortnite, with a lot of FPS games generally being more favored towards people who are like really good at the game, what is it you think that's allowed you to stand out and get to, doing streams to like 100 over 100 people at a time? Is there anything in particular that you think that, for other streamers too, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be great at a game to get those size audiences?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it really matters how good your skill level is or whatever. Like if you're trying to be a sweat, then you need to cater your stream towards sweats. I'm not a sweat. I'm a casual sweat. That's what I call myself. Like I get into it sometimes. I'll hyper focus and I'll be like, I really want to win this game and I'll pay attention. But half the time I'm looking at chat. I'm not even paying attention. I'm running into walls. And what makes me different is that I advertise that. I say, hey, I'm not good at this. I'm here to yap in your ear. If you want somebody that's going to chat back to you when you say something in chat, that's going to be me. And a lot of people come into my stream and they ask me, what can I do to be better? And I'm like, that's a really vague question. I say to them all the time, I'm like, you have to remember at the end of the day, streaming is a source of entertainment. So what is the person watching you getting out of your stream? Are they watching you because you're really good? If you're really good, you don't have to talk to chat. You're good. You're fine. Your gameplay sells itself. But if you're not great, why else are they staying? Are you funny? Are you entertaining? Are you talking about things that matter to people? Or are you just sitting there, just staring at a screen, expecting people to interact with you? So I just tell people, like, you have to figure out what your purpose is. There's millions of streamers. Why are you different than the 500 other people who are live in the same time zone, in the same state, in the same game as you? And it takes a lot of like inward reflection. It makes you have to think about who you are. It's so hard to brand yourself. You have to be super honest with yourself, and you change. You grow. You find out, okay, well, I'm going to start with this, and then it evolves into something else. Um, and that's all part of the journey. I think it's great, but ultimately you have to figure out why you're there. Not because, oh, I want to be rich. Just by the way, it's not gonna happen. Like, at the end of the day, maybe you'll have some extra, you know, play around money with. You can buy extra skins in Fortnite, but at the end of the day, like, you're more than likely not gonna be clicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and when you said so many really valid points there that I don't want to skip across any of them, because a lot of the people that I speak to will say, I'll ask them, how did you get into streaming? And they'll say, oh, well, I was gaming anyway, so I thought I may as well just turn on my stream. And then I go, okay, that's great. And now that you've turned on your screen, are you doing anything differently that actually makes it
I'm
look like
sorry, my bubble machine is going off. I don't know what's happening.
the bubble machine also
Okay.
really agrees?
What did somebody subscribe to me while I'm not online? Because that's what happens. What in the Alright, I'm sorry. That was really bizarre. I saw the lights change, I was like, "Oh, somebody followed me."
I
And then
mean,
the
for
bubbles
anyone
went off.
watching as well right now, that's like a great little interaction piece. If someone subscribed, have a bubble machine. Like, that's amazing.
Honestly, it was so easy. That was very bizarre. I don't know why that happened. I'm sorry.
Good
Continue with
timing.
your what you're saying. I'm sorry.
So yeah, so again, a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, I was playing anyway, may as well start streaming." And I'll say to them, "Well, are you actually now doing anything differently now that you're streaming, or are you still just acting as if you're just playing the game?" And they, will say, "Oh, well, I'll talk to chat and I'll go back and watch maybe one of the VODs and I'll skip through, and there'll be 15, 20, 30-minute intervals where they don't say anything, and they don't even sit there with like a smile on their face." And also, not to offend anyone, but the gameplay is incredibly mediocre as well. So it's, like you said, what is the value there? And so I don't know if from your experience, your perspective, is there any tips you could kind of give to people when they're at that point where they're thinking, what is the value I'm adding? Is it entertainment? Is it skill? Is it education? Is it something else?
I mean, the biggest thing I could advise is don't shut up. Don't stop talking. That's the thing. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to know that if somebody scrolls by you and they happen to land on your stream, you can't expect them to interact with you. 90% of the people that watch you are going to lurk. They don't want to talk. People are shy. They want to just enjoy the environment that they're in. And if you're sitting there having a good old conversation with yourself, or even like making fun of yourself because you made a silly play, or like you're not good, so you're embracing the fact that you're not good, just don't stop talking. Sing a song. You know what I mean? Do something. That's more than just sitting there expecting somebody to start that conversation. Because they're there to watch you. You're not there to watch them.
And with that kind of tip on just talking, was that something you found you already had at the beginning? Like something you were able to do because you were particularly chatty, or is that something you had to learn to do and get better at?
I definitely had to learn to get better at it. I could talk to anybody. It's 1,000,000 times easier to interact and talk when people are actively chatting. That's 100% true. Um, so I'm not going to say that is the same or easier or harder. It's The hardest thing is getting to that point where you have, like, say, your mods come in and chat with you, or, some of the people that are consistently with you to, interact or start an interaction. The best way to get, like, that genuine engagement in the very beginning is have channel point redemptions, for example, like a check-in. They go to the channel points, it's recommended because it's one channel point. Okay, hey, check it to thanks so much for tuning in. How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. They don't have to talk to you, but you can at least acknowledge their existence without them having to say hello. But, like, filling the dead space is so crucial to people wanting to stick around because it gives them an opportunity to see your personality. Like, me personally, I don't shut up. I will never shut up. And there's times where I'm quiet, but I'll have music on. I'll have, like, really good music on. People will come in and comment and say, "Oh my gosh, I really like your playlist. What is it?" And then here's a command. Here's my playlist. Um, but it's learning, like, tell a story about yourself. Like, say you made a silly play, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this reminds you of the time that blah, blah, blah," like something like an anecdote about your life or something that you're happy to share. You could talk about your day, you could talk about anything. Um, just keep talking and practice. Honestly, just practice. Sit in the mirror and just try to fill 10 minutes worth of you just yapping about nothing. That's practice, you know what I mean? Like, it's like public speaking is the same thing. You practice your speech over and over and over again in the mirror, trying to make sure you don't look silly or you stutter over your words. It's the same exact thing, just minus looking in a mirror. The mirror is your camera.
Yeah, it is much easier said than done, especially I find that a lot of people I speak to as well would consider themselves quite introverted as well. So for those people too who maybe aren't used to leading conversations, it is something that, a lot of the bigger streamers or a lot of like really up and coming streamers, they are just naturally very good at talking, or not even naturally, they are just good at
Mhm.
talking, and it might come naturally or it might not. But after a lot of practice, it's going to seem natural, even if if it didn't start it 6 months ago. And
Mhm.
other than kind of then you're chatting, constantly chatting to viewers, if you think back to kind of when you were at, let's say, like 5 average viewers, were you doing anything kind of outside of the stream itself as well? So were you posting on socials or were you networking? Kind of is there any insights that you have to share there?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people to post on social media. Take the one before you even start streaming, you should be posting on social media. Take offline content about what your stream is going to be about and post it on social media. Post it everywhere because Twitch, if you're trying to grow on Twitch, it doesn't have a native discovery tool. Like, it does, but it doesn't. Until you have a few people already in your chat, you're not going to get recommended to other people because it doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know the type of people that come in and stay in your chat. So it can't recommend you to other people. Um, but definitely take offline content. Turn on your OBS and just play the game. Get genuine reactions of really good clips if you're trying to be that person, or like silly things that happen and comment on it. Or, and the biggest thing is intro what your content is. Say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened in my game today." Insert clip, post it on social media, because then, number one, it gets the people to understand who you are, what kind of personality you are. Um, then to them to see your gameplay and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm totally going to go check them out." Always have your stream schedule like in your profile, have links that backlink to your profile. Always bring people to Twitch. Like, you can even have like a little button on your social media that says, "Follow me on Twitch," with your schedule on every single video. So it becomes repetitive. People understand that they're going to see that. They're going to know where to find you. If they don't know where to find you, they're not going to come see you. And you have to make it as easy as possible. People are innately lazy. They're not going to do anything if it's going to take them more than 2 steps.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that we see a lot of people do also is having a link. It's like a link tree, and the link tree has like 20 links in it, and some of them like don't work, or someone even will put in there, let's say, in their TikTok bio, a link to their Twitch, but it's not actually a working link. It's just text, and so you know, that would require someone to actually copy and paste that text, go to a browser, paste the browser into paste the link into the URL. And for us who maybe aren't reflecting on ourselves, we think, well, why wouldn't people do that? My content's great. Why wouldn't I do that? But like you said earlier, there's so many people that are streaming who are making it much easier to go and find their content. Similar things in like Discord, like have your Twitch integrated integrated with your Discord, have it in your bio link. Maybe give a little bit of like a one-liner about what type of content you stream. I'm a Fortnite streamer. Catch me every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Here's my link. Such simple things that
Mm-hmm.
reduce the barrier to like finding you as a content creator. And they sound so simple, but like you said, you've got to assume that viewers are lazy. They're not going to do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And another thing that I would definitely recommend, say you've never streamed on Twitch before and you want to jump into it, I would honestly, I would save Twitch. I would save it for when you're ready for Twitch. Because again, like the discoverability is dog water. You're not going to natively grow by yourself without other sources bringing people in. So TikTok has been huge for me in terms of visibility and awareness. I would always recommend post your content, get to the point where you could go live on TikTok and then bring them over. The amount of people that I have brought, I built my entire Twitch because of people on TikTok finding me. I'm like, hey, come over to Twitch. That's better over there anyway. I don't get a lot of viewers now on TikTok because I think the algorithm hates me, but that's fine. I've grown so much because of it. If they hate me now, okay, thank you. You did your job for me.
Mm. Yeah, I think you've been banned a couple times or shadow banned, right, on TikTok a few times.
I got in trouble yesterday because somebody came in and said something really terrible. And then I told him to go F himself. And then I got in trouble.
You got in trouble.
But people say so much worse things and I got in trouble.
Yeah. It's always the way,
Whatever.
isn't it? Always the way.
I got in trouble for saying banana also.
Yeah, you did tell me about that one as well. And that it actually is a good lead into you
Yeah.
mentioning TikTok because obviously there was this period of time kind of midway through last year where multi-streaming became massive. Twitch changed the terms of service and people could multi-stream. And this was kind of through the rise of Kick.
Mm.
So I don't know if you want to touch on if you multi-stream, when you got into it, kind of what your playbook, so to say, for multi-stream is.
Yeah, I do multi-stream every day. I tried triple streaming to YouTube and I do not like YouTube. I don't like it. The people on there give me the ick and I don't like it. So I stopped streaming to YouTube, but I do stream on TikTok and Twitch simultaneously. There's a lot of tools that can help you do that now. It's a lot easier to multi-stream now. You can integrate with Streamlabs. You could do it with Stream Elements. You could use TikTok Studio if you want. I'm very fortunate. I have Stream Key, so I just get to use OBS and like the multi-stream plugin from like, Adium. But definitely recommend multi-streaming 100%. You just have to be careful with a lot of the terms and conditions and stuff on TikTok. Like you can't have imagery that reflect other platforms. You shouldn't really say Twitch either. Apparently it's like a curse word to them. They don't like that. But definitely multi-stream if you can. And if you can, post a TikTok video like 15 minutes before you go live on TikTok. You could go live on Twitch, then post a video when you go live on Twitch, and 15 minutes later, then turn on your TikTok. Because if you post a video on TikTok, it boosts that most recent video, especially if it's a gameplay video that's related to the game that you're playing. It'll boost it out to the FYP a little more. So you get a little bit more organic traction in the beginning. Make sure you say hi to everybody. That's also a big thing. If people say
And
hi, of course.
that's some good tips. And a question around like retainership of viewers. So I know that Twitch is like much more suited because a lot of people will also watch it on like their PC, maybe whilst they're working. They might not necessarily always be watching it on their phone. And so retention rates or watch time rates on Twitch tend to be higher than they are on TikTok. So do you
Mm-hmm.
do you have that experience too? And if so, is there anything you kind of try and do to encourage people to stay a bit longer on TikTok? One of the other Twitch partners, and one of the Twitch partners that we work with, Stallion, he's like mostly on TikTok, and he says that it's much more of like a conveyor belt of people coming through. The retention rates are a lot lower. So, is there anything you kind of do to try and battle that?
Yeah, I definitely see that. It's always the first like 20 minutes of your stream is very, very, very active as soon as you go live on TikTok. And then every 10,000 likes that you get, it then will do another push. So if you're struggling to get likes, definitely have like goals and things like that. And have like some sort of reward. Like, for example, a streamer that is very, very active and does really, really well on TikTok is Happy Gal. She does hundreds of thousands of likes on her videos on TikTok because she's like, at this goal, I'm going to do this emote. You could put like a little carrot on the screen, be like, okay, if we get to 10,000 likes, we're going to do this. If we get to 50,000 likes, I'm going to play follower games, whatever, something that the community would want to stick around for. But I would just be apprehensive, especially in the beginning, not to set that goal too high, because if you're like, I want 100,000 likes, people are going to look at that and be like, you have 3 people in here. No, you know so make it realistic. There's an app called Tickfinity that you could get. It's free, that you can integrate with TikTok, to have like goals and interactive features, and there's a lot of the tools on there that are free, so you can automatically have a like goal on there, and then it'll update. So say you reach that like goal, great, celebration on screen, that's wonderful, and then it'll increase. Like you could set it to increase to another 5,000 or whatever you have it set as. But the algorithm likes every 10,000 likes, it will send out another push to the FYP. So I always start with 5,000 and it just goes up from there. But the retention rate is very difficult. People will leave, come back, leave, come back. Because if they're not actively being entertained, like if you're not doing something insane at the moment they happen to swipe up, they're going to swipe away. I do it too. Because on TikTok, I don't really want to watch live streams, but that's just me. I would rather watch short form content on TikTok because that's what I like. But younger people are getting introduced to TikTok and streaming through TikTok. And that's also something you have to take into consideration too. There's no etiquette on TikTok. They have no idea what streaming etiquette is. They're going to be like, hey, can you buy me a skin? Hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you and they say some out of pocket stuff. So you also be careful. It's also like a learning thing for a lot of people. They don't really understand what they shouldn't do. But typically it's a lot younger folks that just scroll on by.
Yeah, quite some out-of-pocket statements. And there was a point that you mentioned there in terms of setting achievable goals. So not putting your like count to 100,000 to begin with. And this is something that we see a lot as well with people who do like follower goals or subscriber goals. They might have like 3 people watching them, but they'll have like a subscriber goal of like 50 and they're on 0 right now. And I think making the goals much more achievable for the viewers is going to bring them closer to wanting to actually help you. Like if you have a follower goal of 5 rather than 100 and you're already at 2, you're 40% of the way already there. Someone giving you an extra follow is like an extra 20% to add into that goal. So it's much more like, feels like they're adding much more value to you through that. And I think that's a really valid point that you raised there. I just wanted to kind of highlight that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same thing with Twitch too. They have the native features on Twitch for follower and subscriber goals, and it always recommends for you what you should be putting up there because there's a psychology behind it. If you're 3 subscribers away from reaching your subscriber goal, the likelihood is so much more that somebody's like, let me just gift those 3 subs. I like them. Let's get them to their goal. It happened to me today. They're like, oh my gosh, you're 5 away from your subscriber goal. Transparently, I have no idea what my subscriber goal is. I just leave it on autopilot. And people constantly are like, oh, you're almost there. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Because I don't pay attention to it. But as long as it's like achievable, people are happy to help you, especially if they're liking the content that you're doing.
Yeah, and I think there's such valid points out. I just wanted to like really reiterate those points. And something you mentioned earlier as well was around about consistency of schedule. And again, I think this is something that's just really under like valued. Like, and I don't know why. We spoke to Tuna Fish in the last masterclass, and he spoke that like he thinks his number one recommendation to new streamers would be consistency of streaming scheduling. So I just wanted to give you the opportunity to reiterate that and just highlight why that's so important for you and why maybe that led to some of the success that you've had.
Yeah, I would be happy to because I totally agree. Having a set schedule and being consistent with your schedule is actually the number one, I want to say in my book, the number one reason that I have more than 5 viewers. Um, I took a deep dive. I'm a big data analytics nerd, which is why I actually signed up for your platform because I want to see all of the data and the analytics behind it. And I want to find the right time for me. So I stream Fortnite. A million other people stream Fortnite. Again, it goes back into that question. I was like, what is it about me that somebody's going to want to watch? Why would they want to watch me, a person with 1 viewer, at the most prime time of streaming slots? And I'm like, that's just not going to work. Number one, if I were to stream at night, I would never in my life be able to, number one, be consistent. I have too much crap going on. I can't. I have things I have to do. There's no way I could be like, I could dedicate every day at 7:00 to streaming. There's no way. Not even once a week could I dedicate that. So was like having a real a crisis. I'm like, when do I stream? So I was looking at the analytics that Twitch gives you, and it's like, these are the best times for Fortnite. These are the quiet times for Fortnite. And it turns out that one of the quiet times for Fortnite was 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, okay, that's early AF. But you know what? I'm up anyway. I rise super duper early. Might as well just, instead of brain rotting myself on TikTok, why don't I do something to be productive? If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, I lost nothing. So I set a goal for myself. I was like, I'm going to give myself 30 days to be consistent, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 10 a.m., get my butt out of bed, make sure I'm there on time, and just try it. See what happens. If it doesn't work out, like I said, it doesn't work out. And the minute I started doing that, literally the first week, I think I got over 100 follows. And I was like, that's interesting. I started 400 followers back in the end of August. I think I started it. And I had 400 followers. And those are just my friends and people that I had passed, in passing or whatever. And I said, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do it. So I got over like 100 followers in my first week. And I was like, that's crazy. I was going live on TikTok because I had the opportunity to go live on TikTok as well because I had a small following on TikTok already. But it was not game related. It was game related, but gaming adjacent related. So I said, screw it, I'm going to do that. And then once after that first week, I was like, wow, that was actually really good. Like I realized my average CCV for that first week was like 10. And I was like, that's crazy. I was like, I've never had 10 people on my stream anytime I streamed at night, ever. Unless somebody rated me, that was one of my friends. Other than that, I never had that. So I was like, okay, maybe there's something to it. So then I started like tinkering and I was like, I'm going to do it for another week. And then I was adding little things here and there. I was honestly, I talked to like ChatGPT. I was like, give me ideas for my stream. This is what time I do it. What should I call us? So we dubbed ourselves the Breakfast Club because we stream at 5 o'clock in the morning. And the idea was to make breakfast on occasion, which we do. I take my camera and we go into the kitchen and we make breakfast. Because it was thematically, it made sense. And we just kept going from there. And everybody was like, I tune in every morning because I know you're going to be here. I can get ready for work or I could wind down from work. I know you're going to be there because you say you're going to show up and you show up. And the consistency of it really genuinely helped. Like they know that I'm there. They don't have to pop in every day, but they know for a fact I'm going to be there unless I say otherwise in my Discord.
Yeah, I think and it's interesting you like found a real niche there and just ran with it. And that in itself opened up like a pocket of opportunity for you. And that was when in your first week, that was running Fortnite content as well, right? So that was just going all for Fortnite in that first week. How long were you
Mhm.
streaming for? How many times a week were you doing when you first started back in that first week?
I gave myself 5 days a week and I told myself from 5 to 9. So 4 hours. Honestly, if you stream more than 4 hours a day, like that's my limit. I get super tired after 4 hours because I can't talk for 4 hours straight and then still have to function for the rest of the day. I want to go take a nap after that. Um, so I knew that that was enough for me. And then something that I always kind of preach to people that I've worked with in the influencer marketing world, right? Like, why do you stream for 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day? What's your peak time that people are tuning in and watching you? Because you could get really great content in 3 hours. You don't need to be there for the other 5. You could be making other pieces of content in that time if you still want to be working. And I really still think that's true. That I think that not the amount of time you stream doesn't equate to the success that you have. And I think that's a really important thing that people need to take a note of. Like, look at your analytics, see when people are most active, and then adjust your schedule. Say, hey, if my most active times are between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., or 6 a.m. and 7 a.m., make sure you're live at 5:30 so that people at 6 o'clock can tune in. That kind of thing. Um, the analytics are there for a reason. They tell you, they guide you in what to do. They won't explicitly say, hey, this is what you need to do. But if you look at it, you can say, oh, I can understand that I need to be here at this time to this time every day.
Yeah, great points. And another one that you mentioned on earlier that I want to touch on was around when you were going live on TikTok 15 minutes before you're posting a video, something as simple as, posting a piece of content before going live. And obviously you have similar ones of like going live notifications on Twitch, or people will post in their Discords, or they'll post on Twitter. I just wanted to know if you kind of have any pre-stream routines outside of the one that you mentioned with TikTok, or do you have any kind of post-stream routines? So is there anything you do before the stream in prep for it, or after the stream for kind of closing out?
Well, I stream super duper early in the morning. So the last thing I want to do is prep. I will make sure everything's prepped the night before because I just want to wake up and put my makeup on and sit down at my desk. I'll make coffee. That's literally my pre-stream routine. But I'll just make sure that I update like my stream title, make sure it's relevant to what's going on that day. To be honest, I don't know if this is like taboo or not, but I don't change my go live notification. Um, because I want people to know that that's me, because I get a million go live notifications. I couldn't tell you who half the streamers are at that point because they're always like, "Oh, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing." It's like, I don't know your name. I don't know your picture from just looking at it. But if I see a consistent message every single day, I'm like, "Oh, I remember them. I tuned into them." So my going live message is always "Good morning, gorgeous." That's it. That's all it says. Um, and then my stream title will say whatever it is that we're doing. Um, but like as for like a pre-stream thing, not really. I just make sure that I have coffee and am somewhat caffeinated before I turn my camera on.
And is
I
there
have
anything
a
you do
going live
after?
stream like screen and stuff.
Is there anything you do
Anything I
afterwards?
do
Like,
after? After stream, I will kind of go back. I'll look at my clips. I'll see if anybody took anything fun. I always encourage everybody to take clips because, like I said, the whole thing of our stream is embrace your weird, don't take yourself seriously. And I actually took some advice from you from our call the other day. You were like, why don't you do something with the sound bites and stuff like that? I'm like, that's a really actually fantastic idea. Let's so every week now we're making a song based on the stupid things that I say out of context. We made our first song yesterday and it went really well last week and everyone loved it. They were like, this is really cool. We gave ourselves 30 minutes to make a song. And now they are constantly clipping things. So now I have content to look at that people thought were interesting because what I think is interesting and what other people think are interesting are totally different things. Like they love when I say something ridiculous, which is great because it makes them laugh, so they're entertained by it. But I would be more interested in like the guts of something. Like I want to be told the story. They're just there for like me saying the word "but." You know what I mean? Like they think it's funny. Um, or if I curse accidentally, they think it's hilarious because like it's like you're a mom and you just don't know how to curse at all. And I'm like, honey, I'm from New York. I curse like a sailor. I tone it down a lot, okay? but um but after like so I look at clips and all of that. I'll like ideate on like what type of like short form content I can make out of it or if anything. But then I kind of just go to work after that point. So I don't have a lot of time to make content.
yeah.
I wish I could duplicate myself.
And then were
And I'll always
you?
raid people after my stream.
Yeah, raiding is a big one. I don't know if you want to you do this.
I
You carry
love rating. Yeah, no, I'll totally talk about so I think rating is the coolest feature on Twitch, like hands down. So I'll always do like a vibe check before like everybody knows, like I'll say this is my last game. I'll clock off a TikTok because I don't want to like have to explain to them what I'm doing. So I'm like, hey TikTok, see you later, see you tomorrow, whatever we're doing, and then I'll sign off a TikTok. I'll play my last game only on Twitch. I'll say that actually on TikTok. I'll say, if you're not following me on Twitch, go follow me on Twitch because we're gonna play our last game there. And then I'll log off TikTok. And then we'll go to Twitch and we'll play our last game. And then once we're done with that game, chat knows like, okay, we're going to find someone to raid. So I love to I take recommendations from chat. I'm like, who is streaming right now that is on their way to a goal? Is somebody trying to get affiliate? Is somebody trying to get partner? Is somebody trying to do something? Because I'm blessed enough right now to have the ability to give like 75 viewers to someone on a pretty consistent basis. And if they are similar to me in vibes, I will absolutely raid them out. We'll always do a vibe check. So I'll pull their stream onto the screen and I'm like, okay, how do we feel about this person? And they're like, okay, cool. We like them. We like the vibes. We like how they're doing. The biggest thing too, turn off your damn pre-roll ads. For the love of pizza, turn them off, okay? Because I will not raid you if you have pre-roll ads on. I'm not sending my community somewhere where they're just going to be blocked. Like none of them are subscribed. Turn them off. They're the biggest turn off to anybody trying to watch a stream. Like I'm not going to sit there and watch a commercial, you know. But yeah, so I'll always kind of go into that, and then I'll pick somebody usually in the Fortnite niche. I do have a channel point redeem that's like guide the raid. So if somebody has somebody that they really want me to raid, it's not that expensive in terms of channel points. But if somebody wants to redeem it, they can. But I always kind of take like a general consensus. But the thing is, like, if anybody's like trying to hit a goal, or if somebody just is like really cool, they for whatever reason don't have a lot of viewers, or they're brand new, or whatever it is, I like to send the love their way. Or if you could tell, like, oh my gosh, we rated someone yesterday who was getting crapped on by these pieces of crap in their chat, right? And she was taking it with she was doing so good. She was just like, oh, haha, like kind of like letting it like roll off her back or whatever. And I was like, that's not okay. And she had like 5 people watching her, and I was like, girl, "You're too nice for this. Like, what is going on?" She goes, "I know." She goes, "I get trolls all the time, blah, 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 blah." So I'll have a conversation with them to see, like, how they react. Number one, to me talking to them, first time chatter, like, how they're gonna feel about it. And then I said, "Okay, hang on." I was like, "Maybe I can make your day a little better." So I threw my whole community in there, and she was like she came into my chat this morning, and she was like, "Thank you so much
Oh,
for yesterday."
yeah,
She even, like, shouted me out on Twitter. I was like, "You really don't have to thank me for that." Like, and then the trolls left because my whole community started yelling at them. I was like, "Guys, she's getting bullied." I was like, "Go get them." And they were all in there like, "Get out of here." Like, it was so cute.
like a pack of dogs. I love it.
Yep,
And
exactly.
so on that then, so two things I wanted to about then in terms of engagement, because you're using your chat to make clips and find entertaining parts. So that's a way to engage your chat. But you're also engaging chat in terms
Mhm.
of deciding who to raid, actually sharing your screen, having a look, vibe checking, like you said. And they're obviously both two ways that you mentioned for engagement. You mentioned the what was it, the wheel of torture? What was it called again?
It's the wheel of torture for that one.
Wh-
Yes,
Wheel
that's
of
the
torture.
newest addition.
And then obviously you
We
mentioned
normally
the
have the
sound
challenge wheel, but we added that one, yeah. Yep.
And
Yep, yep, and the
you
sound
mentioned the
bites.
sound bites too. It'd be really good if you could, like, give maybe like a rundown of, like, some of the, like, main engagement, uh, maybe tools or ideas that you used when you first start out and kind of through to now what you're doing at the minute. Is there any particular, plugins or extensions or just, process that you're doing, like, ideas? Is there anything you could run through like that?
Yeah. So I love Mix It Up Bot. It's my favorite tool. I don't know if that makes me a boomer or not in the streaming world, but it was like a mixer thing. And I don't know. I love everything that it does. So I made sure that when I started streaming, there was ways for my community to interact because you could really customize your channel point redemptions with it. So it's more than just, you know, here's the thing, you can actually have it interact. Like, you could have it throw an overlay on. I had it do something where people could change what I was wearing. I made sure I wore a green shirt and people could change my outfit with channel points because of Mix It Up Bot. Like, there's so many cool things you could do with it. But when I first started, I really just used like sound bites more than anything for channel points and things like that. Um, because I didn't know where we were going. When we first started, it was like, okay, we're gonna do breakfast themed stuff. So everything was like very breakfasty and all of that. And you don't really know where it's gonna go. And it kind of evolves very quickly at times. I saw somebody that had like a check-in command. I was like, oh, that's a good idea to spur engagement as soon as they log into your stream. So with Mix It Up Bot, you can collect your daily victory crown. So people like get to show off how many times they've checked into the stream. Super easy to do. Um, then it grew into like, what can we do to torture me? So that's where I found the challenge wheel idea. So if you do 7,000 channel points, I have a wheel that spins on my screen that will make me do something ridiculous in the game. That's the normal challenge wheel that we did. Then when that kind of got a little stale, I was like, okay, well, we have to zhuzh it up a bit. So like, you're constantly tinkering. Like, you understand like where like the communication, the engagement is kind of like dying out. And it's like, what can I do to fill that void? I added channel point, not channel point, but I added like point games. So when Mix It Up, there's a bunch of games that you could just play for. You could make the points worth something. You could make them worth nothing. But you could have like roulette. You could have gambling. You could do all these silly things that people interact with, and custom commands. My most used custom command right now is love. So I use exclamation point love, and it spits out how much percentage somebody loves me. It's ridiculous. It doesn't mean anything. People do like silly like, oh, I have banana, exclamation point banana, and it tells people how big their bananas are because it's funny and it's like tongue in cheek, and people are like, oh, he, it's a banana pun. And plus I got in trouble with TikTok saying banana, so bananas became our theme. Um and right now, the most engaging thing that we're doing, I'm doing a monthly giveaway because I was very fortunate to have a lot of people subscribe to me in December. So we're doing actually like a giveaway right now. So we're using Stream Elements for that because it was just an easier platform to use for the giveaway aspect. So people could buy tickets. They can earn points certain ways, whether like I take fall damage or I win a game, or, I'll do raffles and people can win points. So they could buy tickets with points, and the more they engage, the more they hang out and chat, the more points they get, the more tickets they could buy to enter into the monthly giveaway. So we're giving away PS5 actually tomorrow. So
Wow.
now that's a big way for engagement. And people are constantly saying buying tickets or buying this. And, I have those commands in my stream title. So people are like, oh, what are these commands? Like if there's anything new, it's in my stream title. So it'll say like, this is what we're doing today. If there's anything going on for a long term, I have like a bracket and it's like PS5 giveaway, the end of the month, and then a bracket, and then my commands. So like it'll show specific commands that you could try. And I did take another page out of your recommendation, by the way, with the ask like, when you're streaming, somebody comes in, you can only say hi, how are you? How many times? How many? I'm good. How are you? Great. And then the conversation ends. So now with Mix It Up Bot, I've set it so when somebody new types in for the first time in chat, it says, hey, by the way, feel free to exclamation point ask Krista any question. And I have like 120 random ask questions that it can ask me if you type exclamation point ask. So it'll say, whatever. Honestly, I don't even know what the questions are. I had ChatGPT write 20 questions on different topics, and I just threw them into a notepad, and now it pulls a random question if anybody types exclamation point ask. So it's a good, way to interact.
And
Oh
is
yeah,
there any
it's kind of
other
knowing your community too.
and on the other side of things, is there any
I'm sorry, you broke up. What'd you say?
I was saying on the other side of things, is there any kind of engagement tools, features that you tried to introduce that completely flopped?
Yeah, yeah. So Mix It Up is great. Love Mix It Up. So I tried to initially do my giveaway thing with Mix It Up, and they don't make that stuff easy. So I liked the games so much on Mix It Up. I wish I could use them on Stream Elements, but it's just not. It's not that girl. Like it is. It's not there. It's too labor intensive for people to understand and trying to explain people. It's basically telling them how to code in my chat. They're not going to want to do that. They want easy peasy. Again, the simplest method possible. So I had to convert all of my friends' points from Mix It Up to Stream Elements, which was a little harder than I wanted it to be, but was still possible. But yeah, that definitely did not work. And we try stuff all the time that just works or doesn't work. And if it vibes, it's great. We'll keep it. If it doesn't, we'll phase it out. Like the challenge wheel is great. I love the challenge wheel, especially in the beginning, because it gave people an opportunity to like do something and then I would react to it, or do something and then they would get satisfaction knowing that I am tortured to do whatever it is that I'm doing in game because of them. And it got kind of stale. There's only so many things you could do so many times. So I kind of started phasing it out a bit. And now I brought in this torture reel where people can literally torture me, which is great for them. Great for me too, because it's based on donations. But like it's just a way to change what we already had that people were already familiar with, that they're comfortable in understanding how it works. Um, but like kind of refreshing it, kind of phasing it in and out so people don't get bored. You want to change it up, but don't change
Y
things too quickly. Because if you change things too quickly, people don't know what they're doing. And it's
Yeah.
very confusing very quickly.
Yeah. It's like when people change games too often, or change their schedule too often, or change chat commands, or a whole bunch of things. You have to let things run their course for a little bit before you make a decision, before you have enough of a sample to decide whether you need to change it or not. Um, okay, and
Exactly.
how do you think what do you think are the main ways that you keep people coming back then? I know you mentioned schedule, and that could maybe be the biggest one for you, but is there any other ways that you, maybe online or offline, in terms of like Discord servers or any other kind of threads or anything like that? Is there any other main ways that you're getting people to come back to future streams?
Yeah, I always tell people I have a Discord server. I tell everybody to join it. To be honest, it's kind of just for my streams. We don't do a whole lot in there at the moment. I'd like to get to a point where I can. People will talk to each other in there and like, party up or whatever. I always tell people, because the biggest question, I guess, can I play with you? And I'm like, I don't mind playing with you offline, but join my Discord, because otherwise I won't know who you are. So people will join my Discord to hang out with the community, get introduced to the community. People will have conversations here and there. But I basically use that as my main mode of like, hey, I'm live, send a message to everybody, and then most people join from there. It's kind of like a placeholder for me to tell everybody this is what's going on. God forbid I have to miss a stream, or like I'm not feeling well, I'm not feeling up to it. Like this actually past Monday, it was like the first day in a long time. I was like, guys, I'm just not feeling it. Like I need another day. Like I can't. And they're like, okay, cool. And then a few people here and there were like, hey, I missed you on Monday. Where were you? And I'm like, oh, if you were in my Discord, I let everybody know. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they would join the Discord because that's how they know to stay updated. Because like I have Twitter, I don't like posting on Twitter. I hate Twitter. I have Blue Sky, but not many people are on Blue Sky yet. So it's the best way to have like direct contact with what's going on. But yeah,
Yeah. And you mentioned that
and my
you're
name is the
doing
same
giveaways.
everywhere. That's the thing too. Sorry,
That's a big point. That's a big point. Same name everywhere, consistent branding everywhere.
everywhere.
You threw that one
Yeah,
in there.
same. It's not even like your name; it's your profile picture. Don't change your profile picture based on the platform you're on. The same one. Everything has to be the same. The profile has to be the same. The bio has to be the same. Everything. So they know it's you because sometimes I'll be like, is that the person I was following? I don't even remember. But if I know that's what their profile picture looks like across all, make sure it's a good one because you're going to want to keep it for a hot minute. Okay.
Yeah. And you
And then, yeah, the
mentioned
name
you were
being
doing
the
your
same.
giveaway. You mentioned you were doing your giveaway at the
Yeah.
minute too. And you're kind of already doing a lot of like mini events, I would say, through your torture wheel. Are there any other kind of big events that you run that you find attracts a lot of people? Because one of the things that people I think with giveaways have to be careful on is becoming reliant on giveaways to pull viewers in, and then you end up inadvertently bankrupting yourself because you're always trying to do crazy giveaways.
Yeah. There's a big argument whether or not you should do giveaways or not because people are going to stay, only because they're expecting to get something out of you. And I learned that real quick when I would once in a while, like on my challenge wheel, there was a small chance to win like 1,000 V-Bucks or something. And ironically, the stupid thing loved to land on it. And I was like, I can't afford this, man. Like I gotta, but people would only really tune in because they're like, oh, you're gonna give me 1,000 V-Bucks, and then they're gone. And it's great because I got a spike of viewership, but ultimately they didn't care about who I was. They just wanted the V-Bucks to go do whatever they wanted to do. Um, I mean, I think they strategically can be really good as long as you can afford it. So I don't do anything that I can't afford. So anything that I make from my stream, like the prior month, I have it set aside for giveaways. I have that specifically budgeted for stuff that I want to do. And I'm thinking like next month, what am I going to do? Because people are like, well, what if I already have a PS5 and I win? And I'm like, now you have two. I mean, I don't know what to tell you because that's what the giveaway is. Um, so something, I'm trying to think of like what I'm doing for next month, but as long as you can afford what you're doing, just make sure you're budgeting yourself. Don't make yourself crazy because ultimately, like if you're doing giveaway, people are just going to tune in for the giveaway. You'll get people that find you because of the giveaway and then end up staying because they like your vibes. So I wouldn't say don't do giveaways, but I would just be very strategic about how you're approaching them. Like there's a lot of streamers that I've seen that I don't necessarily like. I don't agree with because I just feel bad for them because they're like, oh, I'm on my partner push. Like we're doing 1,000 V-Bucks a day. Make sure you're tuning into my stream. But like, are you going to really keep that up like every single day for the rest of your streaming career that you're going to give? Like, what if you blow up? How in the world are you going to facilitate? How are you going to scale that to make it, So then all those people are just going to stop coming because at the end of the day, they don't care about you. They just want the chance to win something. And I feel bad. Like, I'm like, I love your vibe, but I feel like as soon as you get partner, you're just going to write down because people are just there because they think they're just going to get something. And it's hard, you know what I mean? It's a hard balancing act. Ultimately, yes, people are going to come in for stuff. If you're doing a giveaway, don't expect them to stay. But you can get lots of people that want to stay because they're like, oh, I came for this, but I stayed for the vibes. I get that all the time. Like, oh, I came for this and I came for the whatever. I came because you were wearing a stupid hat and I actually really like this. So I'm going to hang out. But yeah, so don't discredit giveaways, but don't overdo it that you're going to
It can
bankrupt yourself. Make sure you can
be a bit of
afford
a
it.
catch-22 sometimes on that. Okay, I appreciate we're coming up to an hour.
Hmm.
So two more questions to finish out there.
Sure.
So what would you say if you were to give kind of a rundown for new streamers, a bit of advice, or people who have been streaming maybe for like a year or two, but they're kind of stuck? What are like some of the essential skills that they need to be doing to find some success on Twitch?
Hmm. I think that goes back into just like posting content elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like make sure that well, a few things. Make sure you're posting content elsewhere that properly introduces you when you're streaming as a good take on how your stream functions and like what it is that you do that makes you different. Um, Learn how to fill that silent point of your stream when nobody's talking and it's kind of quiet. Like what can you do to not only like stimulate people talking or or just talk in your own right, whether you have people are watching or not. Um, And staying consistent. It's so hard to stay consistent, especially when you're feeling discouraged. Oh, actually, the number one thing, turn off your damn viewer count. Turn it off. Don't look at how many people are watching you. And I say this I actually just told you this a little while ago, but like when you have people in your chat, that's great. But you should be the same person if you have one person in your chat and 5,000 people in your chat. You should be the same exact person. You can get more excited, you could be excitable, but the personality at the end, at the root of it, should be the same person. And my chat tells me all the time because I go, like, I cover my ears, I go, I don't want to know how many people are in here. I don't care because I don't want to somehow change how I'm acting. Because if they came for me acting when I only think I have 3 people in here watching me, I don't want that's like some subliminal thing in my personality to change because I found out that there's 50 people here. Like, I don't want to know. So most of my chat knows at this point not to tell me. Sometimes people will be like, oh my gosh, you have so many people in here. I'm like, I don't want to know. I turn off my numbers. I don't care. I don't care how many people are in here. I see that you guys are having fun and you're interacting and all the rest of it. That's great. Let's keep it that way. That's all I care about. I don't care about how many eyeballs are there. So many people are like, oh my gosh, I've watched you for so long, but I just never say hi. I'm like, that's cool. I don't mind. Like, I'm not going to say you have to talk to me. I'm here for you, not you for me. It's the other way around. So, but yeah,
Okay.
but those are my main things.
There's some good ones, and I think there's some pretty consistent messages that we've heard in the past too, which is don't get too caught up on the numbers. So yeah, I think that's a really, really useful one. And then the last thing would be, what is your favorite thing about streaming, and why are you glad you started doing it again after kind of your 2-year hiatus?
That it's gonna sound so cheesy, but my favorite thing, honestly, is just the community that we've created. So I have a very obviously like I'm a very inclusive community. I have all of my tags say, LGBTQIA safe space, like safe space, all the rest of all of the things that that is like an inclusive community. So I've made so many friends and so many beautiful people have entered my stream who are like, I know I'm safe here because like anyone that says anything out of line, not only am I gonna just go full mom mode on them because I do, but like I do it in a way where I'm actually trying to like learn about why they are saying the stupid things that they say. So like somebody comes in and says something out of pocket for like a rise. That stuff doesn't bother me. I don't care. Like you could say whatever you want. I'm not going to react to it. But I'm like, how did you get there? And then, they know that I'm like genuinely advocating for them. The people who are afraid to speak up or the people who are of like a marginalized group or whatever, they're like, I know you have my back because I've seen it time and time again where you're just nipping it. You're just like, nope, that's not happening. And I've had so many I've had so many trans friends join my community because they're like, this is one of the only places I know that I'm safe. Like I know for a fact you got my back. And I couldn't ask for anything more. That's the most like heartwarming thing that I could think because all I want to do in my life, my literal mission in my life is to make the space that I love inclusive so everybody else can feel the way that I do at the end of the day. Because it's unfortunate that people feel that they're not welcome in a space that they could just play with pixels on a screen. Like that's disgusting. You know what I mean? So knowing that I am that space for so many people is so heartwarming. And I hate when they tell me nice things about me. They go on rampages. They're like, oh my gosh, you're so nice. I'm like, don't tell me that stuff. Like I could deal with you yelling at me. You could curse at me all day. Don't tell me nice things. I get emotional when people tell me nice things. I'm like, no. I'll tell you all the nice things, okay? But because they do more
Yeah.
for it's selfish because I get more out of it than I think they realize. Like I wake up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm excited because I know that there's people there that are like, hey, my person is coming online soon. My friend is coming online soon. Like I'm not just some streamer, like I'm their friend. And it's nice because growing up, you don't always have that. And we've formed this little group of people that are so close at this point. It's so nice to see.
Perfect. Well,
It's cheesy, I
it's
know.
been. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to have you. It's nice that you're happy to be back, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I'm glad you're seeing the success you are because you're absolutely killing it, and you're doing an amazing job. So, really appreciate your time, Krista. Thanks so much for doing this, and I think a lot of people get a lot of value out of this. So, really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if anybody has questions or just in general, just I'm happy to answer anything. I'm an open book. Like I don't gatekeep anything. If you want to know like how Mix It Up works or how to do something or whatever, like just let me know. I'm happy to do whatever. I tell my community the same thing. If anybody has any questions, I will literally show you the code of how I do things. So I don't.
Mhm.
If you want to take it and make it your own, go for it.